Board of Trustees for the Village of Woodridge on this Thursday, August 3rd, 2023. We call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. and ask our clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Annalise,
Present.
trustee Krusek,
Present.
trustee Page,
Present.
trustee Martinez,
Present.
trustee Blair,
Present.
trustee Kagan,
Present.
Mayor Cunningham.
Present.
Quorum established.
Thank you very much. If you would, please join us for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. And this evening, I'm going to ask the Sealander family to please lead the pledge.
I
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. We thank you for being here this evening. We do have some items, comments from the public. We're going to pause now to acknowledge any written public comments that have been received prior to the meeting that do not relate to tonight's agenda, and we will then enter those into the public record. Administrator Stonich.
Thank you, Mayor Cunningham. I have a few written comments that have been received in advance. One is from Vivian Kane with respect to the Lamont Road Warehouse. The other is from Ann Perry with respect to the Lamont Road Warehouse. And then another is from Anthony Aducci, also regarding the Lamont Road Warehouse development agenda item that came before you back in June. And then lastly, Tina Pfeiffer, also with respect to the warehouse Lamont Road Trammell Road development. These comments were received after the June 15th meeting, and we just wanted to be sure that they were memorialized and and on the record for your review, and you have received copies. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now going to ask if anyone here in public would like to address the village board or wish to comment on any items not related to tonight's agenda. We're going to go ahead and move to comments related to the agenda this evening. Again, going to pause just to acknowledge any written public comments that have been received prior to the meeting that do appear on tonight's agenda. None, Administrator Stonich?
Thank you, Mayor. There have been no comments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Also going to extend that invitation to our guests here this evening. If you would like to make any type of public comment on items that do appear on tonight's agenda. Okay, seeing no one, we will now move to the omnibus for this evening. We thank everyone for being here this evening as well. I'm going to ask for a motion to approve items A and B and acceptance of item C, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Trustee Page. A second.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Blair. Is there a request for any item to be considered separately this evening? Seeing no one, going to ask our administrator if you would please read the items that appear on our omnibus agenda for the record.
Thank you, Mayor Cunningham. Members of the board, good evening. Item A, Resolution 2023-56 is a resolution authorizing the mayor and village clerk to execute a certain amendment and eighth extension of the multi-tenant industrial building lease at 8102 Lamont Road for the period of September 1, 2023 to November 30th of 2023. Item B is Resolution 2023-57. It's a resolution authorizing the purchase of two 2023 Dodge Durango vehicles from Thomas Dodge Chrysler through the South Suburban Purchasing Cooperative. These are two replacement police tactical vehicles. Lastly, item C are prior board minutes from the meeting of July 20th, 2023. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Going to ask our clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Krusek.
Aye.
Trustee Page.
Aye.
Trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee Blair.
Aye.
Trustee Kagan.
Aye.
Trustee Annalise.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Going to go ahead and go right to the Administrator Stonich and your report, please.
Mayor Cunningham, two items this evening. First, item A is the fiscal year 2023 second quarter financial report. Director Harrington will provide a brief summary. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good evening and welcome, Director Harrington.
Good evening. 1 second here. All right, I'm going to do a very top line review of the second quarter. It was in your packets, so if you have any questions as I go along, please let me know. The big item, sales tax continues to be strong. We were up 5% compared to last year, and then it's still based on inflation prices, so we are still getting the benefit on the sales tax side. On the facilities project, we are nearly 9.1 million into the project, and it is still moving along quickly. And we had a number of water sewer projects, 2 of them in progress. The Mending Wall Lift Station and 75th Street water main, and then the Woodward standpipe was completed. Moving on to the general fund, revenues are exceeding expenses by about $1.3 million. If you look at the revenue line items, you'll see we're right in line from last year and on budget within 1%. Expenses are down about $589,000 from last year at this time, and gives us an overall ending reserve balance of $21 million. Some of the high performers in the general fund revenue, we've talked sales tax, intergovernmental revenue. Basically, we were up with some grants we received, both state and federal. And then miscellaneous is interest income is higher than we'd had last year. And then on charges for services, there's just been a lot more activity in the development and economic development for the charges for services. So that's why you see that as up a bit from last year. Underperformers are license permits and fees. Basically, it's just the number of permits are down this year compared to last. I think last year we had some remnants of work related to the tornado that had permits early in 2022. And then we had several large alarm fees also in 22. And then real estate transfer taxes, I think we had 50 more in 22 than we did in 23. Plus, I think we had 7 larger ones compared to a handful of larger ones this year. Income taxes is higher, is a little lower. There was that issue with the personal property tax, which IML detailed out where there was a calculation error. It's been realized. We should see that level out or get better throughout the rest of the year. On the expense side, personnel, it is a little bit higher. It is due to filling some positions, and we did create a new communications manager position. On the expense side, you'll see that it's up a bit, about over 600,000. A number of items, some insurance losses and insurance costs. We had some recruiting fees for the finance my position, excuse me, I didn't remember where I was for a second. DUCOM was a little higher, and we had some other services that were higher from last year at this point. And then transfers, a lot of that is just timing. And then on the commodities side, hold on one second. It really is due to the timing of rock salt. So salt for the streets, so it's timing, so it's nothing that's unusual. And then capital is just 17,000 different. Moving on to water and sewer. You will see that revenues are up about 14% and $700,000. Expenditures are higher from 22, but they're still under budget. So it was planned increase in expenses. And then right now we are seeing revenues exceeding expense by about 435,000, giving us a reserve balance of about 4.5 million. Again, some of the overperformers on the revenue side, you'll see capital improvement fee, and that's due to the 30-cent increase that we put into place, which ends up about $77,000. Other income, the 600,000 are transfers from the general fund, which were approved last year, and that's for the water meter replacements. And then on the expense side, you'll see that personnel is right in line. Services, we did have some temporary services in 22 for the water billing until we filled positions permanently. And then on the commodity side, you'll see we have an increase, but it's due to costs related to the DuPage County Water Commission that is passed through, and then we pass it along. And then capital is basically water main work we've been working on that was mentioned at the beginning of the presentation. Capital funds projects. So we are looking right now, we have expenses over revenues about $6.8 million. The revenues for the capital fund is mainly the sales tax and income taxes. And then if you look at the difference in budget, the difference in budget compared to the actual revenue, it's bond proceeds that are budgeted for the year that have not shown. And then we've already talked about the capital work The ending balance of 26 million is a little high, and that's mainly due because we're still holding bond proceeds. So it's typically not as high as that typically is right now. Other funds, nothing really unusual about the other funds. Motor fuel fund, the expenses are basically based on timing of the work. Same thing with the police pension fund revenue. We'll receive proceeds in the third quarter, which should balance out the revenue to actual. And then just taking a quick second, talking about the investments, $68 million. You can see the breakout on the pie chart. We are invested in pools, we are invested in munis, we are invested in CDs. So you'll see we have a pretty good split across the board. Our bond proceeds were deposited into the IMET fund, and we've been drawing down on that as needed for payments throughout the year. The maturity, we have investments out 3 years. You'll see we're a little heavier in the 0 to 1 year, about 52%, and about 36% on the second year. This will continue to change, but our overall rate of return is 2.51%. You will see that go up because we've been laddering our CDs. So as we purchase new one, we're purchasing them at 5%. The ones that are redeeming right now are 0.4% or 0.45%. And those were really good rates 3 years ago, and they just need to flush through. So you should see that 2.51% grow with each year, with each month and each quarter. And then in summary, we kind of covered it already. Income is good. Sales tax is good. We're still working on our capital projects, and we have good investment rates. I hope that was a brief summary. If you have any questions, I am happy to answer them. If not, you can get a hold of me anytime.
Thank you very much, Director Harrington. I'm going to open it up to the village board and see if we have anyone with any questions. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you.
Very much. Appreciate that very much.
Last item this evening, item B, resolution 2023-58, a resolution authorizing the village administrator to execute a purchase agreement for VMware and SAN and related components from Dell Technologies.
Going to ask for a motion to approve resolution 2023-58, please.
So moved.
Thank you, trustee Krusek, and a second.
Second.
Thank you, trustee Martinez. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, if our clerk would please call the roll.
Trustee Page,
Aye.
trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee Blair,
Aye.
trustee Kagan,
Aye.
trustee Annalise,
Aye.
trustee Krusek. Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
I stand corrected. We did have one final item, item C, pardon me. Resolution 2023-59, a resolution authorizing the mayor and village clerk to execute a certain agreement for consultant services between the village of Woodridge and Christopher Burke Engineering. This is for the 75th Street Lift Station Rehabilitation Project.
Thank you very much. Going to ask for a motion, please, to approve resolution 2023-59.
So moved.
Thank you, trustee Blair. A second, please.
Second.
Thank you, trustee Page. Any discussion on this item? If our clerk would please call the roll.
Trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee Blair,
Aye.
trustee Kagan,
Aye.
trustee Annalise,
Aye.
trustee Krusek. Aye. Trustee Page.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you all very much. No further active agenda items or unfinished or new business to come before the board. We thank everyone for joining us here this evening and staying connected to the village of Woodridge. It's very important to us, and we do appreciate that connection to us. We ask everyone to please take good care. And with no further business to discuss this evening, I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn the regular meeting of the village board. Motion?
So moved.
Thank you, trustee Krusek. Second?
Second.
Thank you, trustee Annalise. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. It is 7:14 PM